I'm divorced. What about my new relationship? Dustin McCrary, divorce attorney and founder of the law office of Dustin McCrary, discusses new relationships following a divorce. Hi, I'm Dustin McCrary. I'm glad you've joined me today. Today, I'd like to discuss an issue that most people encounter at one time or another after their divorce is finalized, and that is beginning new romantic relationships. The truth of the matter is that after the dust is settled, most people will begin dating again. It's only natural for most people to want to share life with someone they care about, and a new romantic relationship is certainly not an unheard of possibility. That's normal and natural. What I want to discuss today concerns issues of timing. When is it okay to begin a romantic relationship? How soon after beginning that relationship should you introduce the person to your children, to your ex-spouse? These are important questions to ask if you're considering re-entering the dating scene. First and foremost, I would say at the outset that there is a significant difference between dating prior to a divorce and dating after divorce. It may seem silly that I have to point that out, but it's not unusual for those who have been legally separated for some time to assume they can begin dating before the divorce is official. After all, in North Carolina, the parties are required to be legally separated for a year and a day before they can officially obtain a divorce, which is a long time for some people. Concerning dating prior to the official divorce decree, I would caution couples to wait for any number of reasons. There can be significant legal ramifications on issues that are important to you during the divorce if you're found to be dating and involved in a romantic relationship prior to the official divorce decree, not to mention the emotional fallout that might occur. If you're wanting to begin dating after your divorce, however, that's a very different situation. Certainly, anyone who wants to date someone is well within their rights to do so, although I do want to touch on one issue that commonly comes up. Either mom or dad will begin a new relationship and want to know about bringing the new romantic interest around their children. While this desire is understandable, particularly if you've been dating the person for some time, I would simply caution you to make sure that you've waited for the right timing. While you may have moved past your marriage from an emotional standpoint, your children may not have. After all, your ex-spouse is still a parent to your children, and they love that person very much. As a result, it's only understandable that it may be difficult for them to meet a new love interest in your life. Be cognizant of that fact and be cautious and respectful of your children's feelings as you attempt to introduce them to someone new. Typically, I tell clients who ask me about this issue that it's best to wait and make sure the relationship will be a lasting one before bringing the person into your children's lives. Often, dating after marriage can mean trying several relationships before you find the right one. It's probably best that you not introduce your children to every person you date until you feel sure that the relationship will be one that you'll be a part of for some time. I also caution my clients to check and see if there are any legal prohibitions regarding having someone else sleeping over at your house or introducing them to your children. It's not unheard of for some couples to include prohibitions against this sort of thing in their separation agreement. Some separation agreements state specifically that there will be no sleepovers while the children are present in the home, or that there will be no sleepovers with the children home prior to one of the parties getting remarried. If you have the sort of prohibitions in your agreement or your court order, it's important that you abide by those rules. Certainly, if you later find that the rules are intolerable and don't work for your situation, you can always seek a modification. But prior to doing that, it's important to follow the rules or risk legal ramifications. It's also important to keep in mind that any time you enter into a relationship with someone new, there may be emotional issues and fallout on the part of your ex-spouse. This is understandable, and it's not entirely out of the realm of what's to be expected. Even though your marriage is ended, your spouse still may have some lingering feelings that have not yet been resolved. Finding out that you're involved in a new relationship and bringing that person around the children could cause some fireworks. Consider that carefully before you move forward. Even though your marriage may have ended, you have to continue to co-parent with your spouse, and in order to do that successfully, it's best to ensure that you have an amicable and cooperative relationship. This is not to say that you should never start dating again and that you're never entitled to future happiness in a romantic relationship. It's just to say that you should be cautious and careful and make sure the timing in your life is right before introducing the new person to your family members. Finally, I would caution anyone receiving alimony to be aware that if you begin cohabitating with someone else, you may lose your entitlement to alimony. While not every sleepover constitutes cohabitation, a regular pattern of sleeping at one person's residence and spending significant time in their home may qualify. If you're not ready to forego your entitlement to alimony, you'll want to think this over carefully. Ultimately, the goal is for everyone to find happiness after a marriage is ended. The truth of the matter, though, is that everyone does this at their own pace. Do your best to be kind and thoughtful and respectful of the feelings of others. You'll be glad you did in the long run. I'm Dustin McCrary. Thanks for joining me today.